Good morning, you beautiful people. Yes, this is RV life at its best. I'm even I've got a cord. I'm running 2 electrical lines. They're running in so I can have enough juice to run 2 ACs. I'll show that to you later. Today, we're talking about, is your boy Todd driving illegal? Has he been driving illegal now for almost 2.5 years in the state of Kansas? And there's a lot of debate. There's gonna be a lot of stuff into this video. If you're going to tow 20,000 pounds and have a truck that is a Ram 3500 at a GVW of 14,000 pounds, combined GVW at 34,000 pounds, is it illegal in the state of Kansas, and do I need a non-commercial Class A, which in some people would say that's a non-commercial CDL license? That has been a much more difficult question than I could ever imagine, and today I'm driving to go take the Class A non-commercial or non-commercial CDL, whatever it's going to be called. That's what I'm doing today. So I've got to unhook. Sheila's left me. She went to go see Allison and down in Houston. So I'm doing all of this packing up by myself, getting everything ready to drive 45 minutes to go do the license thing today. So we need to roll the intro. I've talked way too long. We're gonna jump into this. There's gonna be a lot of information, and you might be surprised as well, because if your state requires this, maybe we'll learn something together. As of now, it's the craziest, weirdest thing that you would think it would be super easy, is not. So roll the intro. Let's jump into it. I gotta get our RV, Fiona, off of blocks so I can hook up to Shrek and we can hit the road.
A man and a woman left their home to switch things up and go on the road. They didn't know where they would go, but it's gotta be better than staying home. They switched it up. They switched it up.
Oh, I get it. You didn't think I could pull it off. You didn't think I could do it without Sheila here. I understand. I do. But I did it. I still got to do the garage. We're all packed up. Look, I got it all in here. See, look. Look at it. Just look at it. I got it all in. So we're all good. It's quite the chore, though. Sheila and I usually we try to divide and conquer, right? So I do the outside, she does the inside. So having to learn both routines, it's a challenge in itself, but it works out. Now I still have to get off of our boondocking location here at our buddy's house, and we're gonna drive, well actually me and you watching because Sheila's not here, about a 45-minute drive to take this driving test, which they say it's gonna be just the written portion, so I gotta take the test and then actually do a driving test. And I'm not quite sure if they're gonna allow me to video most of that stuff, just so you know. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. You know, it is a government agency, so we'll figure that out. But now I gotta do garage, and then we'll button up to go. Oh, side tip, this is nice. So as we're looking at this morning, if you look down here, if you ever wondered where your studs were in your walls, wait till a nice, cool, dewy morning, and this is like a bonus. You can see where your studs are. Nice, huh? So then, if it's something like a project I'm gonna work on, I'll take a little magic marker or something and I'll put a little black line or a tick where I need to know where said studs are. Here's another good portion, if you can see those. So I'll just do a little black line. Then I know there's a stud here. Then I also know that if I'm gonna hang something that is fairly important or big, so like you see above the door up there, it's like a tip within a tip. I'll know where those metal studs are, so when I screw into the walls and stuff, then I know there's probably metal backing behind there. So that's a bonus. Just didn't see that coming this morning, did you? Okay, let me finish doing what I'm doing, and then I'll show you the other side, which is we're jacked up on blocks. Hey, I don't want you judging me. This is RV life. No judging. Ground is very unlevel. And I just didn't want the wheels dangling in the air. So I came up with a creative solution, as you would say. Hey, just so you know, I know many of you don't do this. I'm using the app to do this, but if you're ever doing something like this, these shackles will sometimes flip, and if they flip, boy howdy is it a disaster. So make sure you check your shackles so you don't have any issues, because it makes a loud noise. Alright, I don't know if you saw our boondocking video of trying to get power so we could run ACs in a friend of ours' driveway. I'm back at it again. So in here, I have a splitter. I call this like a 45 amp splitter. So I reduced down from 50 to a 30, which is here. That goes into a 110, and that's on one leg. Then on the other side, there's another 110. That goes into this barn, which there are two outlets. One is actually an outlet that's on a air compressor, and then on the back of the garage, there's another separate outlet that's on a 20 amp. This will not work on GFIs. You have to have two different outlets that have two different breakers. This allows us, though, to run two ACs and run pretty much everything in here, but in essence it's a game changer when you're dealing with heat. Like, it's been like 90 something degrees here in KC, so running two ACs, man, does that help a lot. It's chilly this morning though. A lot of people ask if I still like the 𝐸∗. Yes, very much so. Now, I mean, granted, most of the time Sheila is with me when I'm doing the hookup, but it won't be too bad. I got a backup camera. Got it. So not had to do this without Sheila for quite a long time. So we got tail swing with trees to get out of my little spot here. So we might have to get out a few times just to check some stuff. So I made it to this wonderful little town, parked on the side here. We're going into the driver's license bureau, which is over there. I don't know, I've never done this type of thing. I don't know, I don't believe I can record this interaction. I'll figure out what I can and can't do. Kind of have to keep it on the down low, I guess, maybe, I don't know. But this should be an interesting thing, and I'm gonna get additional details when we're driving, because he was gonna research some of this stuff, and then we can kind of go over everything. But let's just cross our fingers real quick to make sure that I pass, and then we'll go from there. We're all good. I've walked this thing like 3 times. I've checked all my lights. I've checked all my tire pressures. I'm not quite sure what they're gonna look for. I know it's not a commercial driver's license, so we're not gonna be going through a huge checklist. It's just one of those things where I think it's just a normal driving test, written and then driving. So yeah, we'll see. He originally told me it would be like a 30-minute driving test. And through this town, that should be interesting, to say the least. It's those little things. Okay, gotta check the doors. So, as of now, your boy Todd is now a certified non-commercial Class A driver in the state of Kansas, meaning that if I wanted to get an HDT, I can now drive an HDT according to the laws for this state. And you might have to look at your state and what's going on. I've just got to do an inspection as I walk. I always inspect before I take off. We just did the driving portion, which was great. It was fine. it was like a 15-minute drive around this town. So it wasn't bad at all. He had a lot of questions. I did ask, you know, it does cover the HDT. It's not an issue. He has not issued one of these Class A licenses, and he's been here for years. And he's just kind of surprised that he's never really had to dig into it. And I'm one of the first people that kind of uncovered some of these things. So now, unfortunately, for people buying, you got to think of this. In the state of Kansas, anything over 26,001 pounds combined, meaning that if your RV is 20,000 pounds and the truck is 14,000 pounds because it's a Ram 3500 GVW, then you're over the 26,000 pounds. Also, there's also a nice little rule and law, and that I'll pull up later, that has the 10,000 pound rule. Anything if you're towing over 10,000 pounds, in essence, you should have the same type of license. How do you find this? Over here. Try not to get run over. Your yellow sticker. Once you look on your yellow sticker, it tells you what your ratings are. GVWR, 20,000 pounds. Oh, it's underneath the yellow sticker, sorry. 20,000 pounds. And then the truck itself, if you're wondering where that is, come out here. And you look on your sticker on the side of the door. GVWR, 14,000 pounds. So you combine those two things, and you get 34,000 pounds. If you are in a wreck, the state trooper that's coming to investigate the wreck, they're gonna look at the sticker on both. It doesn't matter if I only have enough stuff in here that's only 15,000 pounds or whatever. It's dry at 16,000 pounds, I think is the dry weight. It doesn't matter. Because even at the dry weight at 16,000 pounds, the truck's still 14,000 pounds. I'm still at 30,000 pounds, I'm still over. So you really need to take this into consideration. If your state requires this, you probably need to look it up. Okay, I got a couple other things I'm gonna go run and do, and then we'll revisit this again. I'm a little high on the front. So we're back though. We're back, we made it back. Let's see what this does. All right, let's you and I chat for a second. Here's the thing, is that I've done so much research on this, and I didn't think I would have to, but let's do a little story time. About 18 months ago, I was shared with this knowledge that, hey, you're gonna need to get a Class A non-commercial license. And I was like, in the state of Kansas, I don't think so. So, since my son-in-law was actually a Johnson County sheriff, I thought I would go and ask him, hey, what do you think of this? This is my combined 20,000 pounds on my trailer, and my actual truck is 14,000 GVW, combines 34,000. I heard this thing. He goes, yeah, I don't think it's that big a deal. And I was like, is it or not? He goes, I honestly don't know. So then, fast forward, I call up the DMV, you know, driver's license, not DMV, but the driver's license thing. Explained to the person on the phone. They said, no, yeah, I think you're gonna be okay. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't feel like I'm gonna be okay, but all right. And so then a few months go by, and somebody else says, hey, you need to really check this out. You really kind of need to see what this is. And I was like, all right. So I call another driver's license place when I come back home, and they said the same thing on the phone. Yeah, in the state, not a big deal. Here's what happens. I'm sitting around, I'm visiting with our friend here at work, boondocking on his property. He goes, you know what, let's just jump in. We'll run right over here to the state troopers and we'll ask them directly. So we go right over to the state trooper's office, okay? And ring the doorbell, he comes in, he goes, I said, maybe you can help me. Maybe you can solve this riddle for me. And I share with them, 14,000 pounds is my truck, 20,000 pounds is this. I hear that I need to, and he goes, yes, you need a non-commercial Class A license. I'm like, okay, great. Where do I get said thing? Because two places that I've called, honestly, they don't really even know this thing exists. He says, no problem, come with me. So we walk back through the whole state trooper's office. We get back to a gentleman, he's sitting at a desk. And the state trooper says, this gentleman right here, there's only 4 people in the state that know this information, and he is one of them. So we proceed to share the same information. He goes, you need a non-commercial Class A driver's license. I'm like, how come I cannot find this information? Where do I need to go to get said license? And he goes, well, you would just go here. And I said, I tried to go there. I did. And unfortunately, it didn't pan out. They weren't aware of this. And he goes, you're kidding me. And I was like, no, this is crazy that it has to be this difficult. And so he goes, I said, so tell me where I need to go. So me and my buddy are sitting there talking. The state trooper person's on the phone. He's calling around, and he goes, he kept saying stuff, and they were like, we're not sure he needs this license. He goes, no, he needs this license. And it was 20 minutes, and I'm thinking, if he is one of 4 people in the state can answer this question, he deals with CDL licenses, then how are we supposed to know the answer to this question? How is this even supposed to be possible that could be this difficult in the state of Kansas? Since this information, I found that there's 17 states with similar laws, and I'm going to put a link down below. Now, this list that's in this thing says that Kansas falls under a Class A CDL license, which would be commercial. That is not true. It is a non-commercial Class A license for Kansas. But at least you will know the states that are directly affected. Then I would say that you'll probably need to call them directly and find out your own information, because it is some digging. So yes, after I found this out, he started calling around to places to go take this test, finding one that was 45 minutes away from currently where we are. Because there's actually only 2 to 3 places in the state of Kansas that I could go take said test. Now the test wasn't hard. It wasn't. I mean, it was a written test, which I probably should have studied for, because you can only miss 5 questions, and your boy Todd missed 5 questions. So I did pass. And then from there, I paid the $26 or whatever, got out and did the driving test, which was about 25 minutes. It was a lovely chat. I mean, we've now gone close to, I think I've put on almost 30,000 miles towing, I think. The hardest part was driving around the town. I mean, if you've ever towed an RV, you actually know when you get 43 feet, not hitting a curb or doing something stupid in a town is probably one of the most difficult things you can do. So it was a true test. And so after we got back, we parked, we went in, he printed off everything, and boom, now I am a Class A non-commercial driver. What does that mean? Some states, I learned, do require you to get a CDL if you're a certain length, and that's a whole nother process in itself, and I don't know what that is. I just know that I've been driving illegally for 2.5 years. Let that sink in. And you're thinking, well, what's it matter, Todd? Why does it even matter? There's a lot of people in this state. Give you an example. The gentleman that gave me the test as we were driving, I said, how many of these have you issued in the years you've been working at this office? Which was 15 plus years. When I went in to 2 days prior, I went in to make sure that I was at the right place, and I asked him, because our daughter was buying a house down that way, so I went in early. Hey, what do I need to bring with me on the test on Wednesday, that stuff. And he shared with him our thing, and he was like, yeah, I don't think you need the license. And I said, no, a state trooper sent me here. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and we'll keep your appointment, and when you come back, I'm gonna make some phone calls, and when, you may not have to take the test. So when I showed up, I took the test, because after I asked him, he goes, yeah, you're pretty smart for getting this license. What? Like, I think I'm still blown away, because think of how many people, not even 20 miles from there, are buying toy haulers, driving with a 3500 truck, and they meet that 34,000 criteria, and they're driving illegally. And you're like, well, who's gonna pull you over? Whatever. That's beside the point. If you get into a wreck, okay? Because I asked the state trooper this. So like, if I get into a wreck and somebody gets hurt, and he goes, yeah, congratulations, you're probably gonna lose your license for a year, might encounter up to 10 different tickets, and all because you wanted to go camping on a weekend. That was his direct quote. So is it important? Will you get caught? You probably never get caught if you don't get in a wreck, right? I mean, nobody's really bothering us. I've been pulled over a few times driving wonderful Fiona here, nobody's ever really said anything to us. Even when I got pulled over, it wasn't a big deal. It's just a simple fact of peace of mind. I mean, again, like the trooper said, all because you wanted to go camping, you ended up getting an offender bender that actually hurt somebody, and the lawyer they hired, right, wanted to see if we were properly licensed. This is a scenario, and then finds out you don't have the proper license. So does the insurance pay? I don't know. Could they deny the claim because you were driving, you know, without the right license? Or could you be personally sued now because you didn't have the right license and the insurance did pay? There's a lot of liability there, and that's pretty scary stuff, all because you wanted to go camping for a weekend. We do have to take some sort of responsibilities when we buy these bigger rigs. And you're thinking, oh, it's not a big deal. No, you know, you're gonna get a smaller RV. Okay, yeah. State law Kansas is even if you're towing something over 10,000 pounds, you need the same license. So unfortunately, in this situation, there's a lot of people towing just a general pull-behind travel trailer that might be over 10,000 pounds. So there are things to take into consideration no matter what RV you're taking. And unfortunately, a lot of the RV places you buy, they want to make sure you're driving away with the proper truck that can tow it, but they're not talking about the proper licensing. There's a difference. So that's the video today, and all it is caution to the wind, sharing with you that there is 17 states that have different laws. If you're going to domicile in another state, Florida does not have any of these, so if you're a Florida domicile person but if you're going to go to Texas, congratulations, you better check on your state laws for this scenario played out right here. Hopefully this helps. I mean, I kind of want to put an end to it because it's been driving me absolutely crazy. It's been now 2.5 years. I've been illegal for 2.5 years. It's nice to just have a little peace of mind that, you know, I didn't know this information. Hopefully that helps you today. Again, link is down below. Like, comment, subscribe if you like this kind of information as we still continue on our journey. We're still learning. And you're gonna ask this question. Well, what, Todd, you did an HDT video. What if you got an HDT? Does this cover it? And the answer is yes. I asked that question in the driving portion, and he said that it would cover if I decided to get an HDT. A lot of these licenses generally are centered around kind of the farm community as well. Think about grain trucks. Think about if you have a semi and you're hauling a grain trailer, you can get this same type of license to travel to and fro the grain when you're dumping your grain. And so that's calculated in that as well. So this license actually, since it's a non-commercial license, now if we made changes in the future, we may have to graduate to that CDL scenario played out. So, but that's a whole nother animal in itself. And we'll just see someday. I might just go through the process just because. All right, all that being said, like, comment, subscribe, be a doer of all things. If you don't even know what to put down for a comment, put C4YT, which is comment for YouTube, so C4YT. And that helps tell the algorithm in this genre that, hey, this video is pretty important. Other people should probably see it. And I truly appreciate you clicking in. And I just was glad that I could share a little bit of RV life with you today. With all that being said, yeah, I'm out.